Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron IV New Order as West Russia. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So there is currently, unfortunately, a raid against us by the Onega over here, across the line. Dmitry, it has been some time since we talked, and I thought it would be worthwhile to catch up. It gave me much joy to discover you were still alive and well, even with all the chaos happening beyond the Urals. I was not certain what is happening over there, but my admittedly scattered sources do not paint an optimistic picture. I sincerely hope that you were keeping safe. Whatever the case, I thought I'd enlighten you as what I've been up to for the past 2 years. No doubt you've already heard about Operation Azurov and the massive goddamn disaster that was. It was not from a lack of trying. We had those fascist pigs on the ropes. And if I had my way, I'd be writing a letter from Moscow rather than some peasant village. These fucking careerists would rather look at their own interest than to fight for the cause greater than themselves. I urge Marshal Yegorov every week that he needs to take a harder stance against our enemies, but he continues to give me the same tired excuses. We're not ready. We must look for our people first. It's driving me insane. Sometimes I feel like he'd rather take advice from Zhukov than I. He's a good man, sure, but does he really have the stomach for what must be done in name of reunification? Perhaps I vented about my problems far too much, and I apologize, my friend. But I'd rather be frustrated as of late. Please do not be afraid to tell me your own exploits, as I'm sure our troubles have much in common. Regards, Mikhail Nikolaevich Tukudechki. Wrestle days. Okay. Can you move over here for a quick second? The answer apparently is no. And a journal page. The nameless bureaucrats and army men who scurry around my office hardly spared me a glance when I hobbled in like a hunchback, bottled in undercoat. There is plenty of time to drink nowadays. My signature counts for nothing when the French generals do whatever they please, with or without it. I often question why I stay here. The dream of old Alex marshalling the Red Army through Moscow and retaking it from the German horde. As much as I wish I were still able to, no. I'm nearly 80. The most I can marshal at this point are dining napkins and shot glasses. Can you blame me for wasting away my life and liver while I work? This old bastard has plenty of things to forget anyways. My failures in Poland, and the snatching of defeat from the jaws of victory in the West Russian War, the Burdism Tuvdechki, a thorn in my side that only vodka could numb. Even sleep is not an escape from the horrors of the past. Every night I see the same dream. Waves of good men slaughtered like wheat against a scythe. Fields of burning tank husk. Spewing smoke and burning. Screaming bodies. A whole generation of Russians lost in a madman's gambit. Sometimes they call out to me when I close my eyes. Sometimes I hear nothing. Which is better? I don't know. I started at the meter this morning while I washed my face. My eyes saw Alexander Ilyich Yegorov. Alex, the Grand Marshal. The failure of so many battles. My hands are stained with more blood than all of my generals combined. And not even alcohol could wash it away. Get more war speed. I mean, people in the country right now, they love war. I'm not feeling very stable. But they are big in the war kit. Our extra infantry now are showing up. Are we able to actually fight you? Who would be weak enough that we can probably do a border raid against? You know what? Let's border raid against the Order of St. George. I feel like they'll be an easier target for sure. Okay, so this is 4. You guys are going to take forever to actually get over here. To the point where I don't think you're going to be able to show up in time. To be quite frank. Okay, our extra division is going to be there in just a moment. But it might still take a second. The musician and the marshal. Mikhail, it's good to hear from you. I admit I had not been paying much attention whatsoever to what's happening beyond the Urals, and I'm glad you were able to shed some light on that. I am, as you probably guessed, alive and well. Regrettably, I have not had much opportunity to accomplish much in the way of musical pursuits as of late, and my obligations to Central Siberian Republic have stolen my undivided attention. I realize I've mentioned in the past that I have no love for politics, but strange circumstances such as these demand strange answers. If I can make a positive impact in a broken country, I will spare no effort. What you have told me concerns me deeply, however. I sense a great deal of pent-up rage within your words, and that your frustrations seem to be getting the better of you. As your friend, I would sincerely advise caution. Bending is healthy, so I will not discourage you on that front. However, please ensure that you do not lose yourself to your frustrations. A man in your position could do well to keep cool head. For it would be easy to commit evil deeds on the field of battle in a bout of wild rage. Take care. Dmitry Dimitrevich Shotozovich. Fucking Christ. Okay. Is that you over here? No, you're Laser, which is a fucking sweet name, but not the, you're a different dude. Okay, our extra infantry is showing up. We're gonna have 2 more showing up in just a second as well. Might take a little longer than I was anticipating. Can you, like, get there? Prison outbreak. Is that... Where are you? In the, okay, that's in the Moscow, Reich, you know what I mean. They're at Moscow, that area. They're over there. Okay, 29%. Extra division now coming in here to reinforce. Things are looking good, I would say. Raskolov, Bogodin, Antolevich was doing his regular duties as a janitor on floor 7 of the WRF Central Committee headquarters in Archangelsk Oblast. When he began to hear a very large murmuring originate from one of the doors. Floor 7, officially a floor for mid-level bureaucrats, was unofficially the dumping ground of every fuck-up that the WRF was too well connected to be thrown out, but not useful enough to justify moving up into the committee. It was an alright for Raskolov, who enjoyed the bitter conversation that he'd heard, which were always entertaining to hear. But this is not one of those conversations. This was a solemn discussion between men who seemed to have something a bit above bitterness to chew on for once. How long will you have? If projections are right, 6 months, max. And they won't be. And I was going to run out first, so it makes easy pickets for the bandits. Good God. The voices seem to stop them. Followed by what sounded like sobbing. Under normal circumstances, Raskolov should have felt like panicking. He should have felt like a pit in his stomach, the horror rising in his body as a thought of his impending starvation and death. But he didn't, for he knew someone who was, well, not well known in the polite society. A guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who would be more than willing to reward him for this information. Who would be willing to take him in while they lynch these little bastards. Raskolov smiled and returned to cleaning the floor. Being a grunt has its perks. Okay, can you please actually win this fight? Okay, there comes our extra infantry. 360 defense. This guy's 449 defense. The numbers are looking good for us. We're now actually going to win. 2 more units are coming in for the reinforce as well, which is very, very, very nice to see. Is there anything we can do with 50 political power? There should be. We should be able to get one of these decisions up here. Political campaign. Let's do some external investments. Follow that up with a raid against you. They've already been raided, so we actually can't... Okay, so because they've been raided, we can't raid them? That's nonsense. Okay, let's raid... How many troops do you guys have? 3. Well, if it's 3, let's station you guys here. Let's raid... Has not been raided in the past 90 days. Who has not been raided? Is there anyone we can actually raid? They didn't have a lead. Okay, so apparently everybody actually is poor right now. So unfortunately, we actually can't raid anybody. Which is fine. We gotta be, I guess, be a little bit more on top of this. So that we can actually raid some people as well. Because we don't actually get loot if we win, right? We get some rifles, we get some political power, we get some stability. But I don't actually get, anything else. Which is a real shame. Again, we are taking, like, manpower losses. We're taking equipment losses as well. Just from actually, you know, we're basically fighting a battle. As far as the game is concerned, this is like a regular battle. Okay. Turns into matters. Again, we are going to be going for the People's Marshal, Zhukov. A toast. The captain was usually quiet, modest, and occasionally stern. A fine Red Army officer who carried out his duties without comment or question. Except on nights like tonight, where the captain got in his cups with his men and told them stories. Stories filled with joy and sorrow and humor. With a few doses of vodka in his belly, the captain was a magnificent, if somewhat ineloquent, storyteller. However, tonight he had only had a few drinks, and his words rang out clear as day. You young men, he said, standing up on his chair so they all could see him, bottle in hand. You don't remember what things were like before. Most of you were babies, some not even born. But I was there, and I was only just out of school, no older than some of you, when I was sent to the front lines of the Great Patriotic War. I was there at Kiev, at Kursk, at Stalingrad, and then at Moscow. Defeat after defeat after defeat. You young men do not know how bitter it tastes. He grew quiet then, as did the room. He looked around the faces of his subordinates, a hint of sadness across his face, and then he took a long swig of vodka. The German, they had tanks and planes and self-propelled artillery, rocket launchers, and all other kinds of shit. And what did we have? Half our men didn't even have a rifle, yet we still put up a good fight. Many young men, just like you, died in those days. Died fighting for every inch of Russian soil that we had lost to those Nazi dogs. And it is because of them that we are still here today. Still alive and still fighting. He lifted up his bottle and made a toast. To the brave boys of the Red Army, he roared and put the bottle in his lips and guzzled down vodka. The soldiers thundered back, happy to be warm and drunk in Russian. To the brave boys of the Red Army. Okay, luckily, we will defeat you, and I think you've taken significantly more casualties than we have. 1.22k. The enemy is defeated. Excellent. So let's see. We lost 2.65 thousand manpower versus almost 7,000 for them. They lost way more equipment. Overall, I think that was definitely worthwhile. But I think we need... It does show that we do need to have our units in more places. We cannot just only be on one front. We got to make sure we can actually stand up against any potential threat. Let's delete you, delete you, delete you. We're going to put purple on that line. Just so everyone's kind of equally distributed in case you get raided somewhere. I would like to train more units, but I understand that is going to be absolutely an impossibility. That is not going to happen. I guess we could... I mean, you know what? We have so few factories. Let's just scavenge for the loot. Or at least right now. Political campaign is not what we're looking for. We actually are now in positive stability. So I will definitely... I will 100% take that. I'm happy to have some positive numbers here. And not just be sad and depressed. But yeah, there's definitely... As you can already tell. You know, if you go back, watch like the first two episodes of the American campaign. Already substantially less events. For sure. Like, it's not even close. I do think I might need to actually restart my computer, because I think I did leave it on for, like, a few days straight. Which I think maybe is slowing down the game a little bit, but it's not too bad. Oh, our debt's actually gone down. The GDP ratio is currently at 5.9%. I don't know why. I mean, I guess we got, like, a big GDP boost. And I'm honestly not too sure where this extra GDP came from, but I'm still happy to see it. Our deficit rate is currently unmanageable. Are you sure it's at 5.9%? Debt ceiling's at 120%. Colombian president has died in office. Not a big deal. Like, I feel like our economy is actually fairly decent, given the situation that we're facing ourselves in. We want to buy more guns. They cost $50 million. How much of debt do we have right now? So how much is $50 million? Okay, get rid of this. Our current debt is $250 million. So it would triple the debt to buy more guns, which I guess is what this big boost is. I don't know where it's getting 27% from, because this is not accurate. I mean, the interest being 9.31 is dreadful. That is really, really, really fucking bad. But, maybe that's why I said the deficit's so high, is because the interest payments are so insane. That'd be my best guess as to where those numbers are actually coming from. Of course, we cannot do People's Marshal, and we cannot do the Red Bonaparte quite yet. Presumably, we need to get our way down to around food security, and then Yaroslav will die. Or not Yaroslav, Yurgorov will die. So we will see. Agricultural situation. And we'll just, you can pause and read that if you want. A moment's reprieve. A kingdom is not without an heir invites chaos through interregnum. A kingdom with more than one chaos through civil war. So does the West Russian Revolutionary Front seem to shamble towards a lighter without pause. Its aging patriarch, Alexander Yurgorov, weakens in strength and vigor with every moment he holds the title and duties of Grand Marshal. Many fear the day the hero of West Russia is confined to bed rest until his passing. Not simply out of concern for the man's health, but also for the bedlam that may yet ensue after his funeral. For as it stands, there are two contenders laying claim to the Grand Marshal Yurgov's legacy. Mikhail Truketsky and Georgy Sukov. For all that they are with each other's polar opposites in many respects, philosophies, temperament, methods, the front's two greatest generals are also each other's equals, least of all in skill. The stalemates such as this will only resolve by beings greater than mortal men. Thus have fates in all their omniscience chosen the People's Marshal. Oh, it actually completes immediately. Okay. Back up to 60 political power. Okay, now there is the succession minigame. Excellent. So right now, it is currently tied 25 to 25. The factionalism within the front is manageable. You meet with Yurgorov. Small meeting, expand oil refineries. This will increase the influence of Zhukov by a large amount. Labor battalions for Zhukov. This will decrease factionalism by a small amount. Will increase the influence of Tukhachevsky. So what do we want to do? We can meet with veterans. Decrease factionalism. I don't know if this... Okay. The WRRF remains the most powerful polity in Shadow Russia. Marshal Yegorov, the old leader of the WRRF, has become senile. His days are spent murmuring about old wars and old comrades. From the ranks have emerged Marshal Zhukov and Tovetsky, generals of Bukharin's old union. The two lie in a bitter power struggle. Their two cliques are in open political war to determine who will lead the most legitimate successor of the Red Army, and ultimately, the Union. So what I think we want to try to do is give Zhukov more power, but also make sure that factionalism is still manageable or reasonable. So that even if Zhukov takes over, Tukhachevsky is not going to like try to coup the government or something like that. Assuming this is what works the way I think it works. Okay, let's hold a military parade. And I mean, I would like to expand the oil fields. It does seem like it'd be useful. And you know what? Let's have the meeting with Yegorov. Both of those seem like they might be useful. A shanty crew. Zhukov was seated on a short wooden stool. A light creak yelped from the floor each time he shuffled around. He held a lukewarm glass of scotch in his shaky hands. Around him, the jeers and laughter of his crew, his men, his only friends, as some would say. He took another sip to steady his nerves before observing the crowd. To his left, Sergei Alkmreviev, a man of steel in his own right. Memories of conducting battle in the harshest of conditions with this man flashed before Zhukov's eyes. Suppressing revolts, the firing and crackling of rifles. Alkmreviev had been by his side through it all, and still more. On many battlefields, he was a devil himself. The sheer whisper of his name sending bandits, Germans, and raiders alike scurrying away without a single shot being fired. On others, he was the slaughterer of hundreds, a harbinger of death and bloodshed from the end of a barrel. But tonight, he was a drunk man falling off his chair from laughing. In front of the line was Nikolai Rostkov. Zhukov had always seen him as a meek, well-tempered, and shy, not one for the battlefield, but was in no doubt that he knew how to carry himself through politics. Many a meeting and shouting a match had been settled by a cool, level voice by Ryzhkov. So many decisions had been made with Ryzhkov's counsel, always informing Zhukov of his next avenue opportunity. If there ever was a politician in Russia, Ryzhkov carried the full package. But tonight, he was hunched over the table, passed out from one too many shots. And finally, to his right, Alexander Yakovlev. This man had always been a mystery, in truth. Zhukov was not sure how or why he had gotten to where he is now, but all he could discern was that he was a man of his word, one of honor, and that itself is respectable enough, especially in times like these. Always behind Zhukov's back, ready to take charge of a meeting or spearhead a debate, he was likely the most intelligent of the bunch, but he didn't show it. But tonight he was engaged in a fierce drunken debate with Alkmreviev regarding the attractiveness of an old woman. Yes, this was Zhukov's motley crew of men. Though many challenges were ahead of them, he still had to make sure they see themselves through, as they had many times before. God knows they must. This will increase the influence of Zhukov. 150 political power! My goodness. I'm very, very happy to see it. Compile evidence on Tukhachevsky. We will compile evidence of an illicit activities undertaken by Mikhail Tukhachevsky during the West Russian War to present to Yegorov. Okay. Thing is, do I want to get rid of him? Like, if possible, I would like to try to make things work and have, like, a strong united front. But we'll see. Build new schools, research facilities. What here do I actually want? No matter what, we're spending money. Agricultural methods is 2% stability. I mean, I guess you all give me 2% stability, huh? Research facility, economic base. We get a free school. Getting a free building is always nice. You know what? Yeah, let's build a new school with our loot. We want to try a raid against you. We have less units, so I'm kind of leaning towards no on that one. At least for the time being. And again, I know we do not have stuff being built, but there's really nothing I can actually do about that. At least right now. Okay, 33 to 25. I don't know what the balances need to be to actually succeed. 56.9% of the government. seems reasonable to me. Meet with veterans, expand oil refineries, increase factionalism, add 5 oil. You know what? Let's expand the oil refineries as well. Let's spend those points. So I've noticed that these are not actually going to increase factionalism, but I'm willing to spend them. I know this is going to really cost us a lot in the short term. I think these are actually these are all fine. Factionalism will not increase. We're going to be taking some economic penalties in the short term, but I think this will pay off as we get further and further in. But I will say that at least for now, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not enjoying, leave some down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.